look how good you have it. You don't need to organize amongst yourselves. You don't need a union. That's only for the other section of people. And that's completely untrue. All workers will benefit from union representation.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
What is a worker? You know, one of the things that I tried to do when I was thinking about the panel is I did try to get several different types of what we would call workers, right? And so we've got people, you know, Hayden isn't, she hasn't actually been, you know, she's not actually a coal miner, right? But she's very much, you know, those are her people. We've got flight attendants, and grad workers and service workers. And so this is and we've got people who have negotiated contracts, people who've been on strike, people who are currently on strike, people organizing new unions who've been doing that so, you know, a really wide and kind of representative swath of what's going on in labor in the country. And so because of the diversity of the jobs that we've got, I'm interested, Hayden, in what you would say to the question of what is a worker? Who are the people that can form unions? What is a worker?
Well, a worker is anyone that someone else is exploiting their labor for profit. So anyone, if you're producing income for someone else, you are a worker. So myself, I'm also a high school English teacher. I'm still part of the working class. I'm producing materials. I'm producing students to go out into the world and either be college or career ready. And I've compensated that. I also have a boss that dictates certain things to me. So I think that we've had a big problem in the country the past several years of trying to divide working class people into white collar and blue collar work to make someone feel superior or to give the illusion of, oh, look how good you have it. You don't need to organize amongst yourselves. You don't need a union. That's only for the other section of people. And that's completely untrue. All workers will benefit from union representation.
That's why I asked you, because one of the things that people always say to people like Michelle or Graham or Lee is, oh, coal miners, they need unions, right? But grad students, baristas, retail workers, no, they don't need unions. They're not actually even workers, some people will say. And so officially, I think we've got a coal miner's wife coming on and saying that's nonsense. So we're never going to hear that again, is my expectation.
Yeah, I wanted to jump on, if it's possible, Jake, I wanted to jump in on this too, because I think there's this impression of the working class that is like distinctly a like 20th century idea of what the working class is, when a 21st century, a 2022 working class is made up of women and queer people and non-binary people. It's overwhelmingly made up of people of color. It's got sectors that are vastly distinct. Even within something like the United Auto Workers, I remember 2 years ago when we went on strike, we had our classic, UAW on strike placards, and tourists, NYU butts up against Washington Square Park. And so tourists will come by and be like, the auto workers, who are they here in solidarity with? And we as graduate students, shared that there are these white collar sectors, technical, office, and professional. It's not just grad workers, but legal aid. There's a vast growing number of legal aid and attorneys in the UAW. And which is, I would never say, like, I know for the folks on the line, like, as I've learned more about the history of the auto workers and the men and women who work in the plants, I'm never going to be at risk of bodily harm in like losing a finger at my job. But at the same time, as Hayden has so concisely and precisely articulated, like, I love that definition of like people who don't have control over their time and energy and output because they need to work for wages to live. And sometimes those wages are really high, right? But I think about auto workers who are skilled technicians, underwater welders, longshoremen, and you might hear something like their salary and draw a distinction, which is ultimately arbitrary because they're not property owners and they're not people who earn wealth from the labor of other people. Like, that's what makes up the working class.
Right. Yeah. does your money, to the extent that you have it, come from your money, or does it come from your labor, the sweat of your brow, or the sweat of your brain, so to speak? Right. That's definitely the important dividing line. And there was somebody, I think maybe Zach Patton on Twitter mentioned that, yeah, I'm a longshore worker. I make like $150,000 a year, and I'm damn proud of it. And I don't make too much. You make too little, right? And look at how much the longshore bosses are making, right? And that's definitely the important dividing line there.
You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.